Hi, it's Fisher from Sewmate. Welcome to my channel. If you want to see how I make this scoop neck petal sleeve dress, please stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. And make sure to turn on your notification bell so that each time I upload new videos, you get notified. You will need a basic shade block pattern to do this, both front and back. I'll leave a link in the description below and a link above as well so you can make one for yourself. So starting with the front, trace around your block as usual, making sure to mark all the notches. Lift your block. Lengthen your dress to your desired length. I'm using 40 centimeters, square a line down and square a line across, and square another line down from the hip line. With your curved ruler, smoothen the curve. Adding my hem allowance, 3 centimeters. Square in your waistline. So this is our center front. Coming to the center front point here, we're going to lower our neckline by 2 centimeters and widen our neckline from the neck shoulder junction. We're going in 6 centimeters, put a mark and square a line down like I'm doing here. So we went down 2 centimeters and across 6 centimeters. Now join these 2 points with a smooth curve like I'm doing here. So we're going to be putting our center front on fold. Adding my notches to the pattern and labeling the pattern. Front dress, cut 1 on fold, and I put my initial. Adding my grain line parallel to the center front. Cut around your pattern. Our front dress is finished. Now moving on to the back. First trace around your block like we did with the front, making sure to mark all the notches. Lift your block. Lengthen your dress to 40 centimeters like we did with the front, or whatever your desired length is. Square line down the hip line. Smoothen the curve. Now adding my hem allowance 3 centimeters like we did with the front. Squaring in my waistline. So this is our center back. So we're going to lower it down by 2 centimeters and widen by 6 centimeters like we did with the front again. Square a little line down. So we went down 2 centimeters and across 6 centimeters. With your curved ruler, draw a nice smooth curve. So our center back is going to be on fold as well. Adding our notches to the pattern. Adding my grain line parallel to the center back. And labeling the pattern, back dress. Cut 1 on fold and I put my initial. Cut around your pattern. So my neckline is going to be finished with bias binding. That's why I didn't add any seam allowance to the neckline. So our back dress pattern is finished as well. Now all our pattern pieces are finished and we're going to be using our flared petal sleeve pattern to do this. I'll leave a link to the tutorial in the description below and the link above as well. So now we're moving on to sewing. Now moving on to making our petal sleeve dress. What you need are your completed patterns, your fabric, some bias binding, and you also need your cutting tools. So for the fabric, I'm going to be using this lightweight woven fabric, And I'm also going to be finishing my neckline and my sleeve with the bias binding. I'm going to be using this ready-made store-bought bias binding. You can make your own as well, it works the same. Okay, so now we're moving on to cutting our fabrics. So all our pattern pieces are cut and ready to sew. So what we're going to do is to take our sleeve pieces, put them on the side, get the front and back patterns and lay them on top of each other, right sides facing. Match the shoulder seams and pin them together. Now we're going to take this to the sewing machine and we're going to go ahead and sew on our shoulders together with a 1.5 centimeter seam allowance. Let's go and do that. Okay, now so that's done. I went ahead and sewn on our shoulder seams, overlocked them closed and iron them towards the back of the dress. Next, we're going to go ahead and finish off our raw edge of our neckline with the bias binding. So what I'm basically going to do is just to sandwich the raw edge in between the bias binding here, like this. And I'm going to give it an edge stitching all the way around. Let's go and do that. Okay, now so I finished sewing on my bias binding to the neckline and it looks nice and neat. Now I'm going to put this on the side for now and just start working on our sleeves. Next we're going to go ahead and finish off the raw edge of our sleeve with the bias binding like we did with the neckline. So we're just going to enclose this edge just like that in between the bias binding and just do an edge stitching all the way up to the top. For all four, let's go and do that. Now I finished sewing on the bias binding to all edges of my sleeve pieces here. So make sure you've got two pairs of sleeves, one front, one back, one front, one back. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're just going to get one front and one back piece and we're going to align them at the top edge here where the grain line notch is. Just align the grain line notch and just pin everything along. Now we're going to take this to the sewing machine and we're just going to attach these sleeve pieces at the top edge here within your seam allowances. Okay, so my seam allowance at the top here is 1 centimeter, so I'm just going to use 5 millimeters for both. Let's go and do that. Okay, now so this is what we have after attaching both sleeves at the top here. Now we're going to get our dress back, lay it on the table with the right side facing up. Now with your dress right side facing up, we're going to take the sleeve pieces and we're going to align them along the armhole here, making sure to align all our notches nicely. Make sure you've got the right sleeve for the armhole and just pin along. Now repeat same with the other armhole. Now take this to the sewing machine and sew along the armhole here with a 1 centimeter seam allowance, and I'm going to overlock everything as well. Let's go and do that. Okay, so that's done. We finished sewing on our sleeves and I also went ahead and overlocked the armhole seam. So now we're going to turn our dress to the wrong side and match our side seams. And so we're going to go ahead and just pin along from the sleeve hem all the way down to the hem of the dress, making sure to match all our notches and the seams. Repeat the same on the other side. Okay, so we're gonna take this to the sewing machine and we're going to sew from the sleeve hem all the way to the dress hem, and we're going to overlock both sides. When we finish, we're going to overlock the hem of our dress as well. Let's go and do that. Okay, now so we finished sewing on all our side seams and overlocking them, and I also overlocked the hem of our dress and went to the iron and ironed the hem allowance up like this. So I'm gonna take this to the sewing machine again and just finally do a blind hem stitch. Okay, let's go and do that. Okay, now so I finished the blind hem for the dress, and I also went ahead and ironed everything nice and straight, and my dress is finished and I'm happy with the result. Thank you.